So what I did is I went to dafont.com and looked for some fonts which I wanted to do for my logo, and I wanted it in a script handwriting kind of style. And then eventually I found this font which I thought it was perfect because it had that slicky kind of arty style. So I went onto my sketchbook and I sketched some ideas based on that font, and I wanted the O to look like a cat and the I from artist to look like a paintbrush. So I went to Illustrator and typed out the font which I downloaded, and then I can edit the paths in Illustrator. So I right click and create outlines. And what it does in Illustrator is they have these points which you can adjust and move about, which is really cool because it can make your like unique logos and designs, whatever you want from a typeface. Not just typeface, but like shapes from paths itself, and that's how graphic designers make their logos so unique. So this took me around a few hours to get the logo, and this is how it came out with. But then later on I decided that I wanted that like paintbrush natural effect, so I took some black paint and a paintbrush and decided to do these sweeping kind of rough designs. And this took me a few tests to do it on paper, but I decided to scrap that because it just got really ridiculous. I also did another method where I took some tracing paper, traced out the designs, and then pasted it on a separate paper, and then also got the black paint, but used a very fine detail brush and did really tiny detail effects. But I ended up scrapping that idea because the designs were too small. So another method I did, I got a scalpel and tracing paper and cut out the design and take a paintbrush and painted over it, and it just looked so terrible, so I scrapped the idea as well. Another method I did is that I printed out the logo in A4 paper with the printer, and then I traced it over with tracing paper again. And what I did, I pasted it on a separate A3 piece of plain paper and did the paintbrush effect from a paintbrush again, but more careful. And to be honest, I actually pretty much liked it, but towards the very end with the S, I just completely ruined it. So I did it again in a different way and still ruined it, so I scrapped the idea. And the last method was I did use that paper and I scanned it and put it onto Photoshop in threshold effect, but when you zoom in it's very pixelated and horrible. So I went back to Illustrator, and then I eventually found out there is stroke effects in Paintbrush, so I thought, oh thank God, why didn't I know? So I found this and I thought that is absolutely brilliant. So I changed the colours in light and dark, and then I went back onto Photoshop, and this is where I started to mess around with the colours to finish the logo, and it took a good while. So I went to blending options on the logo and went to the gradient map effect and got this greenish and bluish and pinks colour, and then I create a clipping mask in purple above it, and this is how it turns out, and I thought, that is awesome. I found this texture in somewhere in my Mac and I thought it was pretty cool, so I used blending options and gradient map and found blues and orange and color dodge, and then I added a pattern overlay to look like a canvas, and then I add that with the logo, and this is the final artwork. Do this. Cross page. For fuck's sake. I went to my sketchbook and then I sketched my So what I did is I went to dafont.com and looked for some fonts which I want to have like a handwriting script style in. Oh my god. So I found this texture in somewhere in my Mac and I thought it was pretty cool, so I used blending options and gradient map and found blues and orange and color dodge, and then I went into right. And then I added a pattern overlay to look like a canvas, and then I add that with the logo, and this is the final artwork.